Hi, I'm Trevor from Trevor Fuller Photography, and at last I've received my 360 key mission from Nikon. This is the Nikon 4K 360 camera. Compared to someone like the Ricoh Theta, which shoots at, I think it's 1080, but by the time you put that on a spherical 360, it brings it right down to about 480p or even less. So this being a 4K camera, by the time it's wrapped spherically, brings your overall image to about 2K, which, should be fine. It arrived late last night, and I must admit, I've been gagging to get my hands on this and have a play with it. However, there are a few issues that you should probably consider if you're thinking of buying one, depending on what you want to do with it, really. In the past, I've always used, a little bit clunky, but they're really handy, is the 360 Hero GoPro set. Obviously, the only trouble with these is you need a minimum of 6 GoPros. They do obviously 7, 9, 36. There's all different kinds depending if you want to do 3D, etc. This one is one I've used for a couple of years now. And as anyone who knows GoPros, over a couple of years, you know that the batteries don't sort of hold the charge as much as they used to. So you need a good backup of batteries. I have been using a Jackery power pack, which gives you multiple ports, and then you can run the cameras directly from the Jackery. The quality of this is awesome, I think, because of course you have 6 lenses pointing in different directions. You need to bear in mind that you're getting 6 exposures, which gives you much more control over your end image. The only downside, of course, is you need particular software to be able to stitch them together. If you're not used to playing with photographic and video software, it is a bit to get your head around when you first start. And of course, the actual pipeline, so from filming to downloading 6 SD cards to importing it into the software to doing all my settings, etc., is probably 20 times as long as it takes you on the key mission. So the key mission is a lovely looking thing. We have 2 lenses, obviously one either side, with 2 sensors, relatively small, but I was quite excited because it's Nikon. In my studio here, we have run Nikon cameras for many years, DSLRs, and I highly rate them, always have done. I do use Canon as well, before anyone starts kicking off and saying that I'm a Nikonist. I do use Canons. I actually prefer Canon for video and Nikon for stills, which, as you can imagine, cost me a fortune in lenses. But the key mission, let's just take this off. So it is still labelled, as you can see, still has the tags. It is a relatively... It's got a nice feel in your hand. It's quite a solid piece of equipment. The only thing I will say is whenever you pick this up, if it's in your bag or something, it's very hard not to either put your fingers on the lenses, which of course it's cleanable, it's not a problem, but it's just a pain in the backside. So because it's all glass pretty much. The other thing being, you only have 2 buttons on this camera. So one is for video and one is for stills. I've done them the wrong way around, but you get the gist. So the other thing is, if you don't put your hands on the glass when you're getting it out of your bag, you'll probably very likely hit one of the buttons. And as soon as you touch one of the buttons on this camera, it instantly starts recording. There is no, as such, power up. It's just one of the buttons and you're off and away. What I did find was a lot of people are moaning on about that exact thing. However, I have done a tiny bit of research and found out that if you hold the video button for a few seconds until the green power light comes on and then release it, as soon as that light comes on, it is then powered up but not filming. I've noticed a lot of people moaning about this on the internet, but not really many of them have worked that bit out. It comes with, or of course you can download the Nikon app, which I have done already, but I must admit, and you will see again on a lot of the interviews, the software app side of this is atrocious. Okay, so it's the Nikon Snap Bridge, which looks a bit like this. Okay, now I think from what I've seen online, I've been quite lucky. The amount of people that are moaning that they cannot get this to talk to this is crazy. I did have a few issues. It took me a few times, but a lot of people are saying on the 50 times that they've tried to connect to the camera, it's connected 4 or 5 times. I did it about 10 times last night, and it connected probably 6. So that is a little bit of a pain, to put it mildly. But I'm sure as a software or as an app, it could be redeveloped, and I'm sure it will be updated later. What I did notice is, because it feels like a nice piece of equipment, and it does look the part, what you'll find compared to, for example, the Ricoh Theta, it's quite thick. It's quite a thick body. So between the two lenses is probably the best part of just over an inch. So what you will find on the stitch, which you will inevitably spot yourself, because the lenses are so far apart, unlike the Theta, and it's trying to shoot spherical, obviously 360 in all directions, the stitch down here, it's fine here, but the stitch down here, you will notice there's a bit of a soft line, and if I was to be filming at the moment and turn this side on, you will see you get a bit of a bizarre warp as you go from one lens to the other, which is a bit of a shame, which you don't really get with the GoPro setup, but of course you have far more lenses. When you're using the app, what I found slightly annoying compared to the GoPro app, for example, once you're connected, okay, so I've just powered up my 360 key mission, and I can now read, let me get it to talk to my camera. Connectivity. So you can see I am connected and my camera has 100% battery. Hopefully you can see that. So if we go into the camera settings, you do have the option to control the camera from your phone, which is of course very handy. It's now telling me that I need to accept it onto the Wi-Fi settings on my phone. It comes up and says, would you like to do this? You say yes, and then for some reason it takes you to this screen. It's completely irrelevant. It's of no use to you whatsoever, so you then have to shut that screen down, go back into your settings, over to your Wi-Fi selection, and then I can see here I have KM360, which is my camera, and we're now connecting. And fingers crossed, because I'm making a video, it will connect. Okay, we're in. Lucky. So, if I now go back to the app, we're back over to the app now, and then go, so you can see we have here, we're currently live. So it's great that we're getting a live feed on my phone, very much like the GoPro app. The only thing I will say is, let me just show you this. So once I want to start recording, okay, I think, yeah, that shot's fine. Now you can, what I do like about it is, of course, we can have a look round the shot and make sure that we have everything there that we like. Let's bring that right back round to us. Here we are. The resolution is very pixely and it's quite low on here. And as you can see, we've just lost connection. Now, this happens a lot. It's incredibly annoying. If I go back to connection, it's telling me we're connected, so I don't know why it even did that. Go back to the camera, okay. Then we go back to remote photography. It's telling me that it's lost the Wi-Fi. This is so annoying. Takes us back to the pointless screen, which you don't need. Go back to your settings. I need to go back to my Wi-Fi. Now, according to this, we're connected anyway, so I don't know why I actually did that. So let's go back in and see what it says this time. Remote photography, and we're back. Okay, and it does this a lot. It is really, really annoying. Okay, so I'm going to say this quickly while I've still got it. If you go to record, okay, you instantly lose your feed. So you no longer can see what you're doing. You no longer know what the camera can see, and until you stop it, that is exactly what it does. It's really annoying, I won't lie. What I am going to do, and we've lost connection again. There are quite a few bugs with this camera. As you can hear, it's time-lapsing because I left this on from yesterday. Which brings me to my next point. So, last night I wanted to do a time-lapse. I thought I'd try it out with some stars, get a nice nighttime lapse, and that's the screenshot you can see on the monitor behind me. I will add a link to this so you can see these stars moving across a bit clearer than you can side on. I will either add you a link here, or it will be available at the end of the video. The disappointing thing is the resolution is very poor, I think. It's very grainy, it's very blocky. It does have a nighttime feature for time-lapse, which I tried. Unfortunately, what I did not realise until later, well, till this morning, is it only shoots a 10-second time-lapse. I don't know who made that rule. I was out the entire night and had the camera running from approximately 11 o'clock until 6 in the morning to get the sunrise. And when I brought it all in and plugged it into the computer, it had a 10-second clip, which was probably an hour and a half to 2 hours, roughly. So a complete waste of time. I froze myself silly and I was not very impressed. There is no way around it. I've been on a few forums and had a look, and it just shoots 10 seconds. Not really what I was after. So let me power this up again. Okay, so hold it till the green light comes on, then let go quickly, and at least it's not recording. I don't want to sound completely negative about this camera, because if you're not using it in a professional way, I think it's brilliant. If you're going snowboarding, skiing, you're on your motorbike, you're in a race car, you're on holiday, it is great. So, later on this afternoon, I will be reboxing this and sending it back. It's not really up to spec for what I need on a professional basis. And I don't think my sanity would allow me to keep trying. Okay. App is open. So apparently I'm now downloading pictures. I don't want to do that. Oh, still not working. It did just come on, so I started recording again, and we've instantly lost it again. So let me try once more. Numerous settings that we can go for. Super time lapse, loop recording, so obviously it will start and record back over itself. All I want, I'm going to go for standard movie. Let's take that back, then we'll go back. We're in standard movie, back again. As you can see, you can adjust your date, you can change your LED brightness, the sound settings, etc, etc. There's a lot in the app, it's just not really very reliable. I think that's the word. It's consistently unreliable. Okay, so let's now go into remote photography. Please. Oh, come on. Okay, hopefully this is it. There we go, and as you can see, it's got rid of the camera again. Kicked it off my Wi-Fi, so I now have to go back in. You press open, it takes you to the wrong screen. you have to go back into your settings, all the way back to the top. It's logged on to my home Wi-Fi, which is no use to me. I go back onto the camera. It's now hopefully going to set it up. As soon as that connects, yes, yes, yes. Now we go back to the app. Hopefully back to remote photography now. And yes, it's live. So very quickly, I'm going to press record. Hopefully it's now recording. As you know, we've now lost the feed, so I have no idea what the camera can see. I'm going to try not to touch the phone. I'm going to leave the camera here and it's telling me it can't record on the app. I don't know why, but the time is still going, so we'll see what we get. And it's now turned itself off. So let's try again. Hit record. So what it's doing now is I'm leaning hopefully across the stitch line to try and show you, you can probably see it here, what I was saying about the thickness between the two lenses is a bit disappointing on the stitch. It gets a bit strange about here. Okay. If we just turn this round, there we go. So Azan, it's now turned itself off again. It's reconnected itself again. I'll try recording again. It's not like I'm doing anything. As an amateur camera, I think it's fine. It's when I read the name Nikon, I rushed out to buy one. I bought the full kit, which in here I have the remote control. For what it's worth, I cannot get the remote control to talk to the camera unit at all. I have no idea. I don't know if you need to sync it or whatever. I've tried a few tutorials and nothing seemed to work. The app itself is poor at best. It's got all the settings in there, but it's so unreliable, as you've already experienced. I would go back to the drawing boards and maybe have a look at that if I was Nikon. The image quality is okay. I haven't really gone too crazy with it because I'm not that impressed. I've only had it for a few hours and I'm going to be sending it back. I will, however, be trying a different version, probably just after Christmas now, because we're in that time of year. And I very much doubt money when we get here in time, and it would be nice to get a refund on this one first. The only good thing that you can get away without having to use this on the inside of the camera, again, this strangely enough isn't actually in the manual, but I found this online myself. You can go on the inside of the camera and you will find a switch which turns off the Wi-Fi. Okay, so it then becomes a point and shoot. So you put the camera wherever you like, you hit record, the camera will record, and hopefully you'll get something that you're after. It's the same for photos. You can just press a button. The only trouble with that, of course, is there's always this clunky great big hand in shot, which looks, of course, as you get closer, looks very strange because your depth changes. If I was to stand back, it works better wider. Okay, you'll work this out yourselves, I'm sure. But on the whole, I would just like to say I had to do a review because I was really excited to get this camera, and it does have, for me, a few issues. So unfortunately, I won't be able to use it professionally. The one thing I did forget to mention, which unlike the GoPro setup, they do make one, but this would obviously not go underwater because we don't have the housing on the cameras. This is straight from the box waterproof, which is quite impressive, really. The only thing is you have to change the lenses. So you get different lenses that come with the lens protectors in here because, of course, with the perspective underwater is very different to filming in air. So they've given you a lens correction, a correction lens rather, to hopefully tie up some of these problems. So, on that note, I'm going to wrap everything up, literally, put it back in the box, send it back to where it came from, and wish Nikon all the best. I'm sure when the Key Mission 360-2 comes out, or possibly the Key Mission 360 Plus, I don't know, I'm sure there'll be something in the next 6 to 12 months, which if it's built with this quality, I think will be a real contender. But currently, I feel as if Nikon have probably wanted to get in the game. They've created this, released it, but I do feel that it's still got quite a way to go to be a real contender. So my name's Trevor. I hope you've enjoyed listening to me waffle on about what I think about the Key Mission 360 from Nikon.